Monster Melee! Dwarves versus Elves. Rematch.
Hello everyone, welcome to Monster Melee. Glad to have you here. We are going to be doing another rematch this time. This is actually a rematch that I've been wanting to do for a while. Dwarves versus Elves. I'm curious to see if things are going to shake out a little bit differently. There's going to be a little bit different tactics this time around. It's always interesting to read your comments about the, commenting on the tactics of the creatures and the monsters. Well, I guess interesting is one way that I could put it. There are no shortage of different opinions. I'm showing the overviews of the Dwarf Soldiers and then their leader, Thragdalam, who is a 3rd level mountain dwarf fighter, a battlemaster fighter. I'll put those here on the screen, and then I'll do the same thing for the elves. I'm not going to go over them in detail because I did that on the first battle between these two groups, which if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It's an interesting battle, and this one should give us another perspective on how this could play out. And over here, the Wood Elves, they are led by Sterzanil, a 3rd level Wood Elf Ranger with the Hunter subclass, and then the Elves are largely based upon the Scout general NPC stat block in the monster manual. As I covered in their first matchup, this is the Cove of the Sea Goddess. There are a couple ways to get up there. This great staircase here, which is trapped and pretty treacherous, or this, there's a tunnel that can be opened up if the dwarves can decipher this ancient runic script. In theory, someone could also try to just climb up the rough rock face, but that's very difficult, and any worthy soul who reaches the effigy of the goddess Sortiza the Weaver at the top will get a wonderful divine boon. You can find this map, plus many others, and newsletters and all kinds of RPG content on my Patreon page. That's Esper the Bard on patreon.com. And as always, I am your game master and commentator, Esper. So as you probably remember, there is a tense standoff. These two groups both want to claim or reclaim, as it is, this cove of the sea goddess Sortiza the Weaver. And it looks like the only way to resolve it is with deadly mortal combat. So here's the initiative roll, and we're going to kick off with Sterzanil going first. He is going to cast a Hunter's Mark on Thragdalam, and then attack with his longbow. The arrow swiftly flies through the air. We got a 17 to hit, which is not quite enough. Thragdalam's chainmail and shield give him an AC of 18, so really just is a miss by 1. And Sterzanil is going to do some movement northwards. The dwarf's tactics this time is going to largely focus on getting through that tunnel, getting that tunnel opened up and getting up there. They're going to focus their efforts on that and try to stay away from engaging the elves out here in the open ground. We got a Dwarf Soldier number 2. He's going to move to there, get some cover behind this tree trunk, and he'll use probably a dodge. Take that back. He's going to dash over and get behind this tree trunk there. Elf Scout number 4 is going to make 2 longbow attacks at Thragdalam. 9 and 19. The 19 is going to hit. I don't think Thragdalam has any way of dealing with that. Nope, that is a hit. And that is a total of 6 damage to Thragdalam. The elf will dart northwards. In general, the elven band is going to be heading in the direction of the Great Stair. A Dwarf Soldier 4 is going to dash over to there. Again, they're getting cover behind these tree trunks. So let's see, a dash like such for the Dwarf Soldier number 1. Thragdalam himself is going to do something very similar. I think he'll go ahead and move to there. Elf Soldier number 3 is going to do a bit of moving, take 2 clear shots on this Dwarf Soldier number 5, and then he'll continue moving towards the north. There's a miss and a critical hit. The arrow strikes the dwarf, sure and true, dealing 8 damage. Ugh. But the dwarves are hardy. They have more hit points and higher AC than the elves, so he can stave off 1 critical hit without too much damage. And the elf will continue that a ways. And then elf number 5, I think he'll attack the same target. All right, he'll move to there and do 2 longbow shots. We've got a miss and a regular hit. And that dwarf is going to be taking 8 damage. I guess that critical just wasn't a very good damage roll. Yeah! He grits through the pain of that one, and then on his turn, he will be, let's say, probably do a move and a dodge. Yeah, he'll take some cover there and dodge. Dwarf Soldier number 3 is going to head back in there, getting some cover. And again, the dwarf tactics really are defense, focus on getting into that tunnel as quickly as possible. Elf Scout number 2 is going to do some moving, and he'll probably attack Thragdalam. So with half cover, Thragdalam's AC is actually a 20, which is quite high. A nat 1 and then a 21. So there is actually one hit against Thragdalam. And he's taking 9 damage. Not a bad hit. Elf Scout number 1 will follow suit, making 2 attacks at Thragdalam. And his 2 attacks miss Thragdalam. We go to round 2, starting off with Stairs Anil. He will head there and take 1 attack on Thragdalam. That is a nat 10. It's not going to be enough with a 17. Dwarf Soldier number 2 is going to go there, and I reckon that he'll dodge. Elf Scout 4 moves to there, takes 2 shots against Thragdalam. There is a miss and a hit. And Thragdalam's been getting pelted here. He takes 8 damage. Dwarf Soldier number 4 now makes it to the runes and is going to attempt a history check. With the stone cunning, he's got a +4 on this, so needs an 11 or higher on the d20. That is a failure.
Blast, I know not of these runes.
And then he will move back to his defensible, his position there in the cover. Dwarf Soldier number 1 is going to do very much the same thing. And here's a history check, intelligence history for the stone cunning, and he also rolls a nat 6. And we'll return back to cover. Thragdalam definitely wants to use his second wind fighter feature. So this is going to give him a d8 + 3 hit points restored, 11 hit points back. So that's helpful. He gets back into the yellow. And yeah, let's have him give it a try on the stone cunning.
What do we have here?
That is a success, and Thragdalam has opened up the tunnel through the cliffs, through the sea cliffs here. The dwarves have full cover while they are in the tunnel, right? And he moves into the tunnel, which is basically this like interior, crudely hewn stone ramp going up. So difficult terrain. Also, the stairs over there are difficult terrain. Right, Elf Scout 3 will just take a shot upon Dwarf Soldier number 1. Does have cover, so that means the dwarf AC is an 18 presently, 7 and a 19. There is a hit. And 1 hit, 1 miss. Ooh, that is 10 damage. A pretty strong hit. The arrow clips the dwarf. Good shooting there, Elf. And he will continue towards the stairs. So the elves, they might want to be hurrying up their movement, maybe doing some dashes now that the dwarves have opened up the tunnel. Elf Scout 5 will go ahead and dash and get a pretty good amount of distance covered. Dwarf Soldier number 5, I imagine, is going to be dashing as well. All right, he gets into the tunnel, and Dwarf Soldier number 3 is going to dash and get up into the tunnel as well. Elf Scout 2, yep, he will go for the dash, and Elf Scout number 1, let's go ahead and do a dash as well. All right, so we've got a few elves that are getting pretty close to the Great Stair. Stairs Anil, I think he is going to go ahead and keep shooting. He will shoot at Dwarf Soldier number 1. Again, there is half cover, providing a +2, making the dwarves AC an 18. Oh, a nat 2, that is not good. And Stairs Anil will move over to there. And Dwarf Soldier number 2 has entered into the tunnel, gets through, it's like a half of it, maybe. Dwarf Soldier number 4 into the tunnel, and Dwarf Soldier number 1 into the tunnel as well. All right, Thragdalam gets through the tunnel completely and comes out here on top of this, this section or this portion of the stony sea cliff, and he is moving such that the elves do not have a view of him. He's staying away from the edge where it rounds off, and there could be, a line of sight. Even if he did have cover, why risk it? Elf Scout number 3 is dashing. He is starting to get up onto the steps. That does trigger a thunder wave. A divine magical trap blasts forth, and he will make a Constitution saving throw. It's got like a +1 just a +1. That is a 20. He succeeds and takes only half damage. Boom, a mere 4 thunder damage, and it does not blast him back, and he can make it that far. That trap triggers whenever someone enters onto the stairs, like steps onto the stairs, or starts their turn there. Elf number 5 also wants to try going up onto the stairs. It is an area effect with a thunder wave. It's like a 15 by 15 foot area. So that's going to be damaging and potentially blasting off his ally if he does that. You know what? I think Stairs Anil and the chaotic part of his alignment is going to send that scout over here to try to fight these dwarves. So the scout is going to dash and get really close to the entrance of the tunnel. Dwarf Soldier 5 has to choose to either come out and fight this elf, but then expose himself to the other archers, or stay there, go up to the tunnel. I think he'll stay there. I think he's going to ready a battle axe attack. I wish there were a readied icon on Foundry. I'll just use this eye to help me remember that he's got a readied battle axe attack. All right, Dwarf Soldier number 3 is coming out onto the top of the escarpment here, and we'll use a dash to get over there. I think Elf Scout number 2 is also coming this way to harry at the dwarves, and Elf Scout number 1 is going to, oh gosh, maybe ready a dash. Yeah, I think he'll come here, and he will ready a dash, and, you know, there's a way to not, trigger the Thunderwave blast on an ally. He'll take that opportunity in that moment and run up onto the stairs. We go to round 4. You know, I think Stairs-Anil is actually tempted to climb up the rock face. He's got a +5 athletics, and it's a difficult DC 20. That's just really difficult odds. And he doesn't know the jump spell. That would be pretty interesting to use here. He will move there, and he will ready a dash, much like what his ally did. All right, Dwarf Soldier number 2 is dashing, just like his allies, and is coming up here on top of the escarpment, avoiding any line of sight from the elves below. And this elf here is going to dash in to join its 2 other allies. They're going to be harrying the dwarves from behind. Dwarf Soldier number 4 dashes to get there, and Dwarf Soldier number 1 is... does he stay back and try to fight off the elves? Maybe so. If you can visualize this, he comes past his ally and has like this shield bash attacking this elf in the front. Alas, it is a miss, and he will move back. I don't think the elves actually have drawn any melee weapons. I think they have longbows out, so no opportunity attack there. And he'll go back a bit in the tunnel. These 2 are trying to hold off the elves from coming through the tunnel this way. Thragdalam dashes up there, and Elf Scout number 3 is starting his turn on the stairway and will attempt the save. Oh, that is a failure against the Thunder Wave. And he is taking 14 damage, which is enough to completely destroy him. And he is flung, his body is flung off of this great stony stair, lands in the sand, and he is no more. So that will trigger this readied dash. Scout or Stairs, I think Stairs-Anil will get the priority. His ally will allow him to go first. So Stairs-Anil will use the dash to go there and step onto, maybe he like leaps up onto the highest step that he can get and triggers another blast. He will be making a Constitution saving throw. He has a +2. A 10 is not enough. Boom. And he takes there 7 thunder damage and is pushed back. Okay, not knocked prone. Thunderwave itself does not knock prone, and he wasn't high enough up the steps to have fallen and taken fallen damage, which would make someone fall prone. All right, so Elf Scout 1 has a ready dash. He is going to try it. There is a great clap of thunder, and he exactly succeeds on the Constitution saving throw. He'll be taking half damage and not flung off. There is 8 reduced to 4, and he'll just go up, another step or 2. That's all he can get on his dash. Again, it's difficult terrain. This is actually going up 30 feet to the top of this stairway. Elf Scout number 5, I don't think wants to walk into a dwarf's battle axe, so he'll move to there and take 2 just clear longbow shots against that dwarven soldier. Looks like those are both hits. Oof. And that's probably going to take down this dwarf here. There's a total of 16 damage, and the dwarf is gone. Goodbye, brave dwarf. And then that elf will use a bit more of the movement to come back, or the remainder of his movement to come back to there. Okay, we got a Dwarf Soldier number 3 now, who is going to be dashing across the top of the stony escarpment. Yeah, he makes it over to there. So what do you think, guys? At the moment, it looks like the dwarves have a good shot of getting to the statue first. We'll see if that elf can make it up there, though. That could that could change pretty quickly. Elf Scout 2 will move to there and take 2 longbow shots at Dwarf Soldier number 1. That is a 12 and a 9. Those are both misses, and the elf will move back this way upon swift steps. All right, Elf Scout number 1 is going to start his turn on the stairs, make a Constitution saving throw as the Divine Thunderwave erupts, and he has failed. And he suffers a total of 9 thunder damage and is flung off. I still don't think he's up quite high enough to to take falling damage and get knocked prone. So he'll start his turn back there. Oh my. He's quite wounded. He's in the red, has just 3 hit points left. I think he's going to have to fall back to a defensible position. So he's going to go here and get some cover behind this tree. And we go on to round 5 with Stairs Anil, hoping to make it up the stony stairs. I also forgot to have Stairs Anil make a Constitution save for concentration. He's concentrating on Hunter's Mark, so I'll do that now. This is from when the Thunder Wave dealt damage to him. So he actually failed that and lost his concentration on the Hunter's Mark. I think Stairs Anil is going to actually try to climb the rock face itself. So he moves over to here and will make an athletics check. He's got a +5. 10 plus 5 is a 15. It's a DC 20. So he just has kind of a bunk start, and that was just part of his speed. So he'll actually use his action for dash and is going to try again. 18's really not enough. It's not enough to like slip off, but you can't make any progress with it. So he just kind of stalls out. What I mean by that is if you succeed, you can climb, at half your speed for a round. If you fail, you don't make any progress. And if you fail by 5 or more, you actually fall off and take falling damage if you're up high enough. Dwarf Soldier number 2 is moving over to there, and Elf Scout number 4 is going to be taking a couple of longbow shots. He shoots a couple of arrows through the tunnel at Dwarf Soldier number 1, who already has sort of a light wound as it is. 9 and 13 are not good enough, and the elf will move back there. Okay, Dwarf Soldier number 4 will be doing dash. Dash will get him to there, and Dwarf Soldier number 1, who is bravely defending the tunnel. He's gonna dodge. That seems to be the best move.
You're not getting through here!
He hefts up his shield. Mightily, Thragdalam, dash. How far can he get? He makes it up to there, getting closer and closer to the sanctuary of the Goddess of Fate, the Lady of Fate, Sortiza. Right, Elf Scout number 5 hops over there. We'll take 2 shots. It's actually at disadvantage. So this is, what is it, +4 to hit. Oh my gosh, are those both nat? Those are both nat 1s. All right, and he will reposition to there. Dwarf Soldier 3 is going to be dashing. He will be to there. And Elf Scout number 2 will be taking a couple of shots as well. Again, disadvantage due to the Dwarf Soldier's dodge. We've got a nat 7 and a nat 3. Nope, neither of those are good. And he'll hop back, and Elf Scout number 1. Now that's the wounded one. Let's just remember this. Elf Scout number 1 is going to be readying a shot against anyone that's appearing up here, against any dwarf enemy that's appearing up there on top of the sea cliffs. Go to round 6. Stairs Anil will make an athletics check. Nat 2 isn't going to do it. And for a dash, nope. He is not having any luck climbing up there, but he's also not taking damage from Thunderwave. Dwarf Soldier 2 goes to there, and we've got to do a couple of Elven shots with disadvantage. Again, this is at +4 to hit. 14 and 17. 17 will do it. The Dwarves have a AC of 16. Dwarf Soldiers do. So this is going to be 1 Elven longbow damage. There's 5 damage, and that dwarf is now into the orange. Dwarf Soldier number 4, I'm thinking he's going to actually come over here just in case any elf does get up the Great Stairway. Dwarf Soldier number 1, who's defending the tunnel. I think by now his allies are far enough along that he's just going to go in and, go down swinging his axe. Yeah! He bravely hefts his battle axe. Unfortunately, a 10 is not enough to hit. And we go to Thragdalam, who is going to be getting closer and closer to the Sanctuary of Sortiza. Elf Scout 5 will move to there, take 2 shots against Dwarf Soldier number 1. We'll say he has half cover from that body there. Elf Scout 4 kind of being in the way, and maybe even a little bit of him is, coming out the tunnel. 20 and 21, both are going to be hits. That's probably going to take down Brave, Dwarf Soldier number 1. Total of 9 damage. And he is actually not quite dead. A sliver of hit points left, just 2 hit points. Dwarf Soldier 3 is getting onto the first of these steps leading up to the 40-foot high elevation. Elf Scout number 2 will just take a hop back and do 2 shots. Again, I'll give half cover to the dwarf. 18 and a critical hit. Those are certainly going to deal enough damage. He's just at 2 hit points, and he has defended the tunnel to his dying breath. Elf Scout number 1, again, he's just has that ready to attack for anyone who appears up there. Stairs really wish that he would have learned the jump spell. I think he'll just do one more round of trying the athletics checks to climb. Training athletics just really isn't worth anything for him. Dwarf Soldier number 2 comes to there, and the elves are starting to go through the secret tunnel. Right, there will be a dash, and Dwarf Soldier number 4 is, I'll do a, I guess I'll have him do dodge, and he's, keeping a lookout. Not close enough so as to be shot at, but close enough to attack anyone who tries to pass by up there.
Almost there, men. Almost there.
Thragdalam getting closer, higher in elevation. He can see the sanctuary just up ahead. All right, Elf Scout's moving through. Dwarf Soldier number 3.
I see it.
All right, and Elf Scout number 2 goes to there. I think he's actually cleared all the way through the tunnel. Again, that's difficult terrain in the tunnel. That's why they're going at half speed. Stairs Anil, he's going to try his luck with the Thunder Wave.
Yeah.
He jumps up onto the steps as much as he can. There is a blast of thunder. He's got a +2 con save. He succeeds for half damage. And he'll be taking half of 7, would be a mere 3, and will continue his way up at difficult terrain. All right, he can make it up most of the way. He goes hauling himself as quickly as he can up these large, steep, stony steps. He gets to there. He's almost cleared it. I think with just like 10 more feet of speed, he's going to get onto the top escarpment. So he's going to have to really do well on a final Constitution saving throw. Dwarf Soldier number 2 reaches over there, and Elf Scout number 4 is coming along the top of the stony cliffs. Right, comes over to there, and Dwarf Soldier number 4. Well, he sees that elf coming along. You know, what he's going to do is actually draw a hand axe and throw it at this elf. He'll have to step a little bit to not be in the long range, then he'll step back to this kind of guarding position that he's at. The hand axe whirs through the air and sails wide and just clinks and clatters down the backside of the sea cliffs.
Nearly there.
Thragdalam will be at the statue on his next turn, and then he will be empowered with the boon of Sortiza. Elf Scout number 5 comes over to there, and he will do 2 longbow shots against the Dwarf Soldier number 4. I don't think he's in long range, right? Longbow has like 150 feet. Okay, one of them is a hit on a 22 to hit, and that is going to be 6 damage to the Dwarf Soldier there. Dwarf Soldier number 3, he will wait for Thragdalam to approach. He's going to, respect and honor his captain. And I'll say he's going to dodge. Elf Scout 2 comes out to there and will take 2 shots on Dwarven Soldier number 1 right over there. That's going to be both misses, and Elf Scout 1, we already know he's the one who has the readied attack. Right at the beginning of Stairs Anil's turn, the Thunder Wave triggers. He makes a Constitution saving throw. Oh no, a failure with just a 9. That is probably the worst place to have failed that. There is 11 thunder damage. I'm going to just go ahead and do that first. And that blasts him back. He falls 25 feet down. And this time we'll be landing prone, and we'll be taking 2d6 falling damage. That's 2d6 bludgeoning, a d6 per 10 feet of falling. Rolled quite low though, so 3 bludgeoning damage, and he is at 3. He could have just died right there very easily. All right, so he's prone. I think he's going to cast a Cure Wounds on himself because he's just so hurt right, it's going to be 1d8 plus 2. All right, he recovers 5 hit points, goes into sort of a orange-red, stands up from prone. That's half of his speed, so he can move half his speed. Oh gosh, what is he going to do? He's going to take kind of a defensive cover position here in this nook and assess the situation. And he doesn't really have many spells left either. He has 3 slots. He has 1 single spell slot left. All right, that dwarf is just going to be waiting there, and he'll do a dodge as well. Elf Scout number 4 is going to shoot 2 arrows at the Dwarf Soldier, who's standing his ground right there. And a 22 is going to be a hit, and he is dealing, 10 damage, and that dwarf is going to go down into the orange. And the elf wants to stay out of like a melee range. He also sees that the Thragdalam and a couple others are getting close to the sanctuary, and that probably makes him quite nervous. So he'll head over to there. The dwarf soldier, oh gosh, dare he pursue? Get that he's brave and all, but that just seems foolish. I think he's gonna move and dodge. That's probably the way to go. Get closer to the allies, dodge for defensiveness. We get to Thragdalam's turn, and he approaches the pedestal of Sortiza the Weaver, and he gives his honors and his reverence to the goddess. And there is a great whipping wind and a rumble of thunder, and he has been imbued with a lesser divine boon, but a divine boon nonetheless. For the next 2d6 days, Thragdalam has the benefits of the lucky feat, a swimming speed equal to his walking speed, and once per day each, or once per long rest each, he can cast Call Lightning, Tidal Wave, and Water Breathing. It's a DC 15 on those.
Oh, Lady of Fate, you honor me.
So Thragdalam is going to be unleashing some potency on his next turn. However, these elves have longbows with a lot of range. The elf scout number 5 comes to there. Is that long range to attack Thragdalam? It might be. Yes, like 162 feet. All right, here we go. 2 shots at disadvantage against Thragdalam all the way across there. He's got an AC of 18. Not happening. All right, Dwarf Soldier number 3. It makes sense for these dwarves up here to really just play things defensively. So he will actually come back, getting cover from the pedestal, I want to say, and will continue his dodge. Elf Scout 2 moves over to there, makes 2 long-range attacks at Thragdalam. All right, +4 on these. There's a 20 and a 15. That is 1 hit. Okay, he is dealing a total of 9 damage to Thragdalam. Oof, Thragdalam is actually down to 9. Elf Scout 1 is the one with the readied. Stares Anil. I think he's going to cast another Cure Wounds on himself. He really needs hit points back. He gets 9 hit points back there, so that puts him back into the yellow. Not terrible. Dwarf Soldier 2 is going to actually dash over to there. And Elf Scout number 4 is going to head over that way. And he'll make 2 long-range longbow attacks against Thragdalam. We are looking at a 14 and a 10. Those are definitely misses. Dwarven Soldier 4, I think he will go there and continue to dodge. And Thragdalam is probably going to unleash a Call Lightning.
Lady of the Sea, smite my foes!
And what he's doing here is he actually moves out just a few steps, conjures this storm cloud here, and then he'll be moving like back to the other side of this big statue for some cover. And he's going to send down lightning that is going to be striking at these 2 elf scouts right here. Right, so that is 16 lightning damage. They can make dexterity saving throws. This is interesting because the elf scouts have 16 maximum hit points. So here we go. This is life or death here. Elf Scout number 2 makes a dexterity saving throw. It's got a +2. That is a failure. And he is felled. And Elf Scout number 5, he's got exactly a success, and that knocks him down from full hit points to half. And we go on to Elf Scout number 5's turn. Well, he wants to get out of the, the radius of being underneath the storm cloud, though he also would like to shoot at Thragdalom because Thragdalom is concentrating on the spell. He also doesn't have a ton of hit points. If he were to move 35 can get him out of the spell's radius, just out of spell's radius, and he'll make an attack at long range, or 2 attacks rather. So disadvantage for the long range. Plus Thragdalom has half cover, so it's an AC 20. 9 and 14, abysmal misses. And the Dwarf Soldier number 3, I think these two are inclined really just to stay back here in the defensive position that they're in. Sterzanil is probably going to dash. He wants to get out of the radius of the spell. Dash to there. And Dwarf Soldier 2 is going to go ahead and do a dodge. Elf Scout 4 gets out of the radius and also takes 2 long-range attacks at Thragdalom. Quite hard to hit here. 7 and 13, absolutely not going to happen. Dwarf Soldier number 4, I think he's going to try to go after some elves here. So he will go this way. That's his speed. Blasted. He has to dodge. It's just too dangerous otherwise. Thragdalom, can he move the storm cloud? Oh, he actually cannot move that storm cloud. So he's not really going to be able to use that anymore unless somehow someone can like drag an elf back into its radius. I also forgot Elf Scout 1 would have moved out of the storm cloud, out from underneath the storm cloud. So he'll move. He moved to there. Well, we're going to try something. Thragdalom is going to cautiously make his way to the edge of the sea cliff here so he can look down. That will trigger the readied attack from this elf number 1. I'll give him 3/4 cover. He's being very cautious and using the edge of the stone to just peer out a little bit. So he's got like an AC of 23 right now. Okay, so there's a natural 1 for a complete miss, and then the other one's a 21. So the arrow strikes the stone right close to where Thragdalom is peering, though does not hit him. And then he is going to unleash a tidal wave and just send this water like a cascade of it, just crushing down upon Sterzanil and the elf number 1 there. It's 4d8 bludgeoning damage, and they can make dexterity saving throws for half. Pretty good roll. Decent roll, I would say. 28 damage. Sterzanil makes a dex save. He's got a +5. His is quite good. Ooh, but he got a 10. Oh, he rolled low. Uh-oh. And you know what? This Elf Scout, he's just a 3 hit points, so no matter what, that's going to take him out. So this means that Elf Scout 2 has been completely defeated, and then Sterzanil is at 0 and is like unconscious and dying. So now the question is, should I continue playing this out? Should I declare the dwarves the winners? I mean, the dwarves basically are the winners, but would those other 2 elves still try to put up a fight somehow? What I see going on is I think this dwarf would probably try to get in a hand axe hit or 2, and then these dwarves, Thragdalom, these other 2 would probably take cover here, like full cover, take Sanctuary. I think they can probably get full cover from the statue pedestal. And so they'll take Sanctuary here at the promontory, and a short rest would do them well, that's for sure. I also realized that Thragdalom has Action Surge. He could have used his Action Surge to call down another stroke of lightning when he had all those elves inside of there. So that was kind of a missed opportunity. There's just so much going on in these battles, it's hard to take account for everything. So with the dwarves taking Sanctuary there, really would force the elves to have to come right up close in order to fight them, which the dwarves are better in melee combat, having higher AC, higher hit points. They do well with melee attacks, especially Thragdalom. But maybe could the elves do this long game and try to starve the dwarves out? Also, the dwarves have to sleep eventually, and the elves just do a 4-hour trance. Though I think it's quite reasonable that if push comes to shove, the dwarves could take a long rest over there, and Thragdalom, upon doing a long rest, especially if his allies kept watch, he would get his call lightning back, and would now know to use the Action Surge and could easily wipe out both of those elves with one single casting of it. So I will declare the dwarves the victors here. They have just so much going on to their advantage, and they've definitely done better, solidly done better than the elves in this battle. So huzzah to the dwarves. A change of tactics there did serve them well. Slow and steady and defensive won out the day.
That is the true dwarven way.
So I appreciate you all, and a special thanks goes out to everyone who supports me over on Patreon. You guys are awesome. You really put wind in the sails of this ship that sails to all kinds of crazy lands. Look forward to seeing you all in another video sometime soon. So until then, my friends, may your adventures be many.